Recyclico, making lithium-ion last forever. Recyclico's patented recycling process achieves up to 100% recovery of battery metals from lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, and aluminum. Recyclico Battery Materials Incorporated trades on the TSX Venture AMY, on the OTCQB AMYZF, and Frankfurt ID4. For more information, visit recyclico.com or phone us at 778-574-4444. Recyclico, making lithium-ion last forever.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Rick Ackerman, editor of the newsletter Rick's Picks, his website rickackerman.com. He's speaking to us from South Florida, where supposedly it's sunny, right, Rick?
Just starting to warm here, and I was out ocean sailing yesterday, and the water temperature was about upper 70s, so it's very pleasant. We had kind of a cooling trend, but it's very nice here.
Rick, what's your take on what's happening on Wall Street right now?
Well, Wall Street's enjoying a lull in the horrific news, which could engulf us at any time we choose to observe it. You know, the earnings reports are going to be coming out, and of course, we're going to see the full impact of this recession that we're officially not in the earnings numbers from companies, particularly in the tech sector. We had Microsoft, I think, announcing, what was it, a 10% layoff the other day, and perhaps that's just a start. That's about, a 10,000 worker layoff, which I think was something like 5% of the workforce. But that may not be the end of it, but of course, that has yet to be felt economically. You know, when you lay off 10,000 people, it'll be a while before that impacts sales of appliances and homes and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of bad stuff in the pipeline that certainly hasn't dawned on the stock market yet.
Elon Musk must really be feeling the pinch. Amazon is ending its contributions to charity.
Huh, that's interesting. They're also one of the smartest operators out there, and you knew sooner or later that the things were going to catch up with them. The free shipping, of course, is a great feature for Amazon, and we can all buy stuff and get. It's less trouble to buy through Amazon than it is to drive a couple miles to Walgreens. So, but you know, there's been some time since Amazon announced it was scaling back growth, and when we start hearing that they're re-expanding their warehouse network and doing things like that, then we'll know we're finally coming out of recession. But it could be another couple bad quarters before the Biden administration acknowledges that we're in a recession. And I'm not sure what Krugman and those guys are saying, but I guess they're blind to economic conditions as well.
U.S. oil inventories are up 8 million barrels as opposed to a prediction of being up only 1 million barrels. Does that mean Americans are driving less?
Down in Florida, you couldn't tell they're driving less. I mean, 95 is still a parking lot down to Miami, and I don't know. I've taken a couple of long road trips, and there's nothing I've seen that would make me think people are driving less. Fuel costs are sort of stuck. They're not as high as they have been, but certainly not as low, and maybe not quite a discouragement to driving. But I see that crude prices are headed up today, and I'll always be the first to admit I don't really understand what drives crude. You start thinking through the supply-demand equation, and it gets much too complicated, so I just follow the charts. We've got Feb NYMEX crude trading at just under $82, just $81 a barrel right now, and I've got a target that at 87. So it's going higher, and whatever relief we might be feeling at the pump is going to be feeling the upward pressure of crude prices. And again, I don't know why crude should be going to $87 a barrel, but that's where I think it's going.
Has Europe's unusually warm winter upset the natural gas market expectations?
Yeah, the natural gas binge buying in the commodities market got quite a bit overdone. You know, it was a question of buy the rumor, sell the news, and of course the news is all that mild weather. That said, on a technical basis, I've got crude at potentially a bottoming place down around $3 and
natural gas.
8 cents. I'm sorry, natural gas about bottoming somewhere around $3.08 per whatever it is, zillion cubic feet. So if we don't get a bottom here, then I'd be tempted to say that technically speaking there is no bottom. But being such that I've got a chart of the March natural gas contract, and if it doesn't hold here up around $3.08, $3.07, I think it's going under $3 a barrel to exactly $2.98, and again that's basis the March NYMEX.
We'll have more with Rick Ackerman right after this.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Rick Ackerman. Rick, Barrett Gold says it's not going to meet its production targets this year. Does that mean they expect a shortage of gold to happen and perhaps through that boost prices?
Well, I have to say I tune all that out. I think that statements made by the officers of gold companies are about as reliable as things that we hear from the Biden administration, for one. But gold is definitely in a different gear, and most recently, this is the COMEX February contract. It pushed above a target I put out a couple months ago at 1907, and the move up in gold has been tortuous, but it's going higher nonetheless. And the fact that it overshot that target at 1907 means to me that any sell-off we get now is going to be corrective pursuant to another rally. So, of course, the big test, and you don't need to be a technician to get to this number, is $2,000 an ounce. And it's been a while since we were up there. Of course, the all-time high in gold happened in March of 2022, and the high on the futures price was about, let's call it 2100. It's actually 2090. So we've got 170 points or dollars to go before crude gets there, and I think it will. But so whatever the mining companies are saying, gold has finally broken free of gravity here, and it's in a bull market that I think will have a lot of that is in the process of getting legs.
What's your thoughts on silver?
Well, I like silver too, and I had a target up there. I think we must have talked about it at some time in the past at $24.94 per ounce, and that's basis March COMEX. And I expected silver to get there first before gold reached its corresponding target that I just mentioned. But actually, silver has yet to reach 24.94. So it's being a little bit coy, but I think it'll not only get there, but it'll blow through it. And once it's done that, the first place it's going to encounter any real technical resistance would be at $27 an ounce. So that's where I see silver headed, but eventually higher, much higher. And you just the charts just say go.
What do you expect to happen with palladium and platinum prices?
That's as hard a story to track as natural gas. You know, the industrial demand for palladium and the demand for the auto business. So we've got, let's see, platinum trading around 1,043, and I think it kind of works to its disadvantage that it's a metal that has industrial use, because there you've got to tie your price expectations to the real world, and it's only when you untether things from the real world that they can really take off like the proverbial banshees. And so eventually they'll catch fire too, but right now I guess there's a little bit of drag on them because they do have industrial uses that give us stories.
Vancouver is seeing rampant catalytic converter theft. What's happening elsewhere?
You know, so much you can't leave a car on the streets in San Francisco. I've got a brother and sister who still live there, and you can't leave a car out there for more than 16 hours without having your new mission system platinum just extracted from. You know, they come out with whatever hedge trimmers in the middle of the night, and your exhaust system is taken with the platinum. And it's possible there's enough theft in San Francisco that it's meeting the global demand for platinum. It's somewhat suppressing prices because the recycling is so efficient in San Francisco. Let me just give you a price on platinum. It definitely, the breakout into January of 2021 really created a very bullish trend, and the platinum continuous contract currently trading 1,039. I think it's going to 1,580 or so at a minimum. The key price there is let's see here, 1189. So the next move, $150 move coming in platinum from where we are today, and it'll face key resistance at 1189. But if it pushes through that, I think that that 1,500 number that I gave you, exactly 1,583, is going to be a done deal.
Rick, are there any other areas that you think we should be keeping a real close eye on?
Well, I see Bitcoin has got a case of the yips. You know, I couldn't figure out why Bitcoin was up at all. Sooner or later, the syndicate that manipulates Bitcoin was going to have an opportunity to push it higher, and lo and behold, it shot up into nowhere. Really, it's not like it's going anywhere, because believe me, Bitcoin is in huge oversupply above 25,000. But here we're sort of skittering along the bottom, 15,000 or so, and you know, there were no successful attempts to rally it. Lo and behold, it's up from from lows of well, I'm using TradeStation right now, and it's being particularly nasty today, but we're currently trading about 21,000 on Bitcoin, and it hasn't really encountered much in the way of supply, but it will above that level, which is why it's never really going there. But it turns out, this was something I heard on Tucker, that there was a run on Bitcoin because it was being demanded by as ransom by whoever hacked the national flight network of Canada, the U.S., and I think it was the Philippines. So these in rapid succession shutdowns of air travel occurred. I don't even know if that's been out there officially as a story, but it makes sense. Everything sort of hangs together, and it does sound a bit conspiratorial, but we know that the ransom guys are so good at what they do that cities and hospitals and other operators have been extorted for big money, millions of dollars, just by felons who say, look, you're going to have to pay the money or we're going to keep you shut down forever. So that apparently is believably what happened with our national air transit network.
Yeah, officially it was one engineer who accidentally pulled some file and it just crashed the whole system.
Yeah, sure.
Blame Chuck. Chuck did it.
Is that it? Is that his name? Actually.
Well, I'm just saying. It could be Chuck. It could have been Bill. It could have been Shaheem. We don't know.
It could have been right. Could have been anybody, but it looks like they got away clean, and they've got Bitcoin. And now, of course, when you come into Bitcoin, word gets around, and they're probably going to get hacked themselves. So anyway, wish them good luck.
Mm-hmm. Is lithium coming back?
Well, I have a small play in lithium. I bought a stock called Frontier Lithium, and that's what I use to track it. Symbol LITOF, and this was based on a recommendation from my friend Chris Temple at the National Investor. And let's just say it's coming off its lows. We were down in July around $1 a share, and that was off a high of $3 just months earlier. So it came down really hard, rallied, came back, and now it looks like we're finally sort of lifting off the bottom. So the lithium story is no longer really, it's certainly not an exciting story, but I think there's there's a decent story that will support the stock, and I think over time push lithium-based companies higher.
Your thoughts on Tesla?
It's still a good car. You know, I was just up in New Jersey, staying with a friend of mine who's got a Tesla Plaid, and the car rides like an amusement park rocket sled. You know, it's amazingly fast, and it's cool. It's got a lot of good features, but he got himself a new Plaid. He used to have a white one, and the seatbelt stopped functioning, and the dealer said, "Look, we can't get the chip that makes your seatbelt retract, so we're going to give you a whole new car." So they did, and but as far as the stock price, it didn't come down from 400 plus to 100 plus for anything having to do with the car. It's simply that Tesla has been, I guess, repriced from that threshold of fabulous story stocks. We say, well, Tesla's not really a car company. It's out to reinvent the world in outer space while it's at it. So it's launching satellites and it's developing batteries and this and that. But I think that in broadly speaking, it's been marked down so that it trades more like a car company now. And there's some question as to whether, even if it was working beyond the bounds of the automobile assembly line, whether it deserved the premiums that it got over GM and some other companies. And maybe just a little bit of car I say it's not the car that's brought it down, but Tesla genetically is a big believer in driverless cars, that's the biggest load of bunk I think that's come down the pike in 20 years. You know, when I think of all the hubris about driverless cars, I'm thinking that artificial intelligence hasn't even delivered a reasonably good spell checker. You know, it's autocorrect is as dumb as a fence post, and don't kid yourself. You know, the same geniuses that are giving us AI for grocery store checkouts that don't work, and all the labor saving applications of AI, they all stink. And so to think that you're going to put your life in the hands of some driverless car that's been programmed by some AI guy who probably never got out of high school, the AI hubris just amazes me. And of course, some big companies that made huge investments in AI, GM being one of them, they pulled back they made commitments in the billions of dollars. I think it was $5 billion in the case of GM. and you had to be just shaking your head, like when are these driverless cars going to materialize in any significant way? And I think the concept was good as long as everything out there on the roads was driverless. And I think the holy grail for driverless is a truck fleet that all the trucks sort of get on the driverless induction coil or whatever, and they move almost bumper to bumper at 70 miles an hour, and that'll be just fine. But it's sort of coaxing the rest of America's fleet of automobiles, private vehicles, and everything else onto that grid that's going to be, well, not impossible, but certainly the time frame that you're talking about is much, much more elongated than was originally being promoted. So I think Musk's still zealous commitment to driverless cars is all. That's another drag on Tesla's share price.
Yeah.
Well, I've got an old Acura, like 2015, and it reads pretty much everything as a crash situation. If there's an overpass, it panics. It gives me the flashing orange light, and if there's a truck with a broad backside that I'm coming up on, I get another crash warning. But when you're actually driving and thinking about driverless cars, and you realize how complex, how much information your brain is processing to do this and that right, you're thinking, well, would an algorithm recognize what I'm seeing up there with the guy on the bicycle maybe about to emerge from between two parked cars or whatever? So those are, AI is really just challenged by anything that we think of as pretty complex, and one of those things, of course, is language. For all the hubris about AI, they still don't have a decent translator. And now we're reading that kids will be able to have AI programs do their term papers and things like that, but you can bet that whatever term papers these AI nitwits are turning out are going to be so pathetic that only a college instructor could be unaware that the essay was written by a machine. And to bring it back full circle, though, who the hell cares is there any college that cares about the quality of essays that students are writing? Do they even write essays anymore? I think it's all online, and all college, even except for maybe getting your EE at MIT or one of the better schools, it's probably all multiple choice, college teachers, they don't want to grade essays. So here we are sort of discussing how many angels can dance on the head of an AI pin, but I'm not one given to worry about how college students are going to be taking advantage of AI to write these term papers that they don't have to write anyway, right?
Rick, it's always fun to chat.
It certainly is, Jim. I appreciate your dropping in on me today. Let me remind your vast audience that if they want to sample Rick's picks and I think the world's best trading room, just come to rickackerman.com and up top click yourself a free trial subscription.
My guest has been Rick Ackerman, editor of the newsletter Rick's Picks, his website, rickackerman.com. He was speaking to us from South Florida. If you have any questions for Rick or anyone else you hear on this show, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.